In just 24 hours, the global scene has turned upside down again. Trump moves from threatening to crush Iran to a surprising announcement that the war is over and the agreement will be signed on Sunday. What exactly happened? Why did the UAE rush to seek Iran's favor? Is it true that America will actually pay $300 billion as tribute to Iran? Today, I will reveal to you the 14 leaked clauses of this upcoming agreement, which some have described as a major surrender. Stay tuned, we'll be right back. Stay with us. Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings, and welcome to another edition today, God willing. As part of our opinion series, which we always dedicate to keeping up with the latest developments and updates of this major global conflict taking place in the Middle East between Iran and the Epstein Alliance. Before we get into the details of today's episode, dear viewers, I want to consult you on a very important topic. I kindly ask all of you to write your opinion about this topic in the comments below this video. As everyone knows, Morocco will soon have parliamentary elections in less than 3 months from today. So today, honestly, I have started thinking about running in these elections with the aim of representing all the Moroccan people in the parliament and leading one of the political committees inside the parliament. But my question to you is, do you think it would be a good step? What is your opinion on this matter? And with which political party, in your opinion, is it possible for this scenario to happen? I won't talk more about this topic now. Write to me in the comments below this video. Let's get back to our topic today, which is about this conflict between Iran and the Epstein Alliance. Today we have very important developments. In 40 years and in just 40 hours, President Trump went from threatening to strike Iran's energy facilities and infrastructure and so on to announcing that he ended the war. That's it. And that there is an agreement ready to be signed by the end of this week, specifically on Sunday, according to some leaks. This time, things might be completely different. Maybe this agreement will actually be signed, because today, honestly, there are a number of indicators that really suggest the signing of the agreement has become imminent. Among these indicators are the following. For example, these Emirati moves, these actions that have been taking place over the past 2 days. So anyone who wants to know where politics in the Middle East are headed should just monitor the movements of the UAE. 2 days ago, dear viewers, there was a meeting in the UAE that brought together the UAE's foreign minister and the US representative to the United Nations. This meeting represented a turning point in this region, a turning point for the UAE, because immediately after this meeting, an Emirati plane was spotted heading toward the Iranian capital, Tehran. Afterwards, reports emerged saying that the Emirati plane delivered money to Iran. Today, Israel's Kan 11 news agency revealed that the UAE sent Iran $3 billion. Also, if everyone noticed during this escalation that the region has witnessed over the past 2 days, Iran did not target the UAE at all this time. Iran struck targets in Kuwait, Bahrain, Jordan and Iraq, but it did not strike the UAE. Not even a single missile was sent to the UAE. And this is the opposite of what used to happen before. The UAE was always at the top of the list of targets for the Iranians. All these are indications that there has been a sudden rapprochement between the UAE and Iran in the past few hours. Maybe the UAE has become completely convinced that there is no point in continuing this confrontation, that Iran's threat to wipe countries in the region off the map is perhaps a real and serious threat. The UAE was convinced of that, so it gave in and reached out to Iran. Even the Emirati media no longer attacks Iran with the same hostility that it had throughout this war. It's clear that the UAE reached out to Iran and then sent it this amount, $3 billion, as a peace offering, and here, pay close attention. This shift in the UAE's position could only happen with approval from America, meaning only after it was certain that an agreement with America was really close or had become inevitable. That Trump basically has no other option but to accept these terms that Iran has agreed to. The UAE has received indications confirming that the signing of the agreement is coming in the next few days or even in the next few hours. So it rushed to reach out to Iran before this agreement is finalized as well. Among the indications that confirm this is that this time, it's not just Trump alone. Trump is saying that the agreement is now imminent, as I explained to you in previous episodes. He said it more than 37 times and nothing happened. But this time Pakistan is saying it, Qatar is saying it, and even Iran. Iran confirms this, saying that the agreement is now imminent and that there has been consensus on the terms of this agreement. Iranian officials have confirmed that the agreement is now imminent. Of course, that's if Trump doesn't change his mind, of course. So here, everyone will be wondering what this agreement will look like. What are the terms of this upcoming agreement? Today there were leaks revealing the terms of this upcoming agreement. Leaks that specify the 14 articles included in this agreement. The Iranian Mehr news agency, quoting a source from the Iranian negotiation team, revealed the latest details of these articles. Of course, this is a reliable source familiar with the details of this agreement. So, what are the articles included in this potential agreement? So, first of all, the first article, maybe we've talked about this before, but today it is confirmed as the first article. We find the immediate and permanent cessation of the war or hostilities on all fronts, including Lebanon, and an immediate halt to any act of aggression. How? As for the second article, we find America's commitment not to interfere in Iran's internal affairs and to respect Iran's sovereignty. Meaning that America has to stop all the plans that aim to overthrow the regime in Iran, meaning plans to stir up internal unrest, calls for protests, calls for chaos, and other steps like supporting the opposition as well. America will stop all of this after signing this agreement. There is a page of one of the people talking about it. They say, an investigation will begin in the region. Therefore, this explains the reason behind the UAE moving closer because of the agreement. Things will not stop at this point. After signing the agreement, other countries will rush to normalize relations with Iran. As I have said before and emphasize again today, all the countries in the region and around the world will rush to normalize relations with Iran. If this agreement is signed, the relationship between Iran and the rest of the world, without exception, will be normal. The third clause also talks about the government lifting the naval blockade on Iran completely within 30 days, meaning that within 30 days the naval blockade on Iran imposed by America today must be completely lifted. And this clause is linked to the following clause, which talks about opening the Strait of Hormuz within 30 days as well, meaning that Iran opens the Strait of Hormuz and in return America lifts the naval blockade. But here, pay close attention, this clause clearly states that the opening of the Strait of Hormuz will be according to the arrangements determined by Iran, meaning according to what Iran sees as appropriate. And of course, this will include setting conditions such as paying special fees for inspection, security, and so on. The fifth clause obligates America to withdraw its forces from the region. This clause may not be exactly clear. I mean, what does that mean? Does it mean all the forces, even those in the countries of the region, the Gulf countries, or does it only mean the naval forces deployed like near Iran? You mean these aircraft carriers, destroyers, and so on? And most likely that's what he means, because there's another clause, which is clause 10. We'll talk about it today as well. We'll reveal it today. It explains exactly what he means by that. So before that, of course, we find clause 6. Clause 6 talks about lifting all sanctions imposed on Iranian oil, in addition to granting Iran full access to its oil revenues, meaning any oil that Iran sells. After signing this agreement, Iran will take the revenues without any objection or sanctions, and maybe even in the currency that Iran wants, even in US dollars if it wants. Clause 7 talks exactly about war reparations. It talks about obligating America and America's allies to provide a plan for reconstruction in Iran worth no less than $300 billion. So here they found maybe a different formula so that America, the world's superpower, doesn't appear to be paying tribute or war reparations to Islamic Iran. So they put this government in place, they found this formula, they created this formula. There will be a fund for the reconstruction of Iran, and America and these allied countries, the IBSIN coalition countries, will be required to collect an amount of no less than $300 billion as their contribution for the reconstruction of Iran. The 8th clause also talks about the complete lifting of sanctions imposed on Iran, because in the previous clauses we talked about lifting the naval blockade, we talked about lifting sanctions on Iranian oil, and we talked about paying compensation or this tribute. But the 8th clause guarantees the complete lifting of sanctions imposed on Iran, but it set a condition. What is this condition? This condition is reaching a final agreement on the Iranian nuclear program. The clause says that there is a 60-day negotiation period for negotiations about the Iranian nuclear program, starting after this agreement is signed. When an agreement is reached, America will then lift all these sanctions imposed on Iran completely. Clause 9 states that Iran is committed to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, meaning it's like a commitment not to withdraw from this treaty. Because during this conflict, if everyone remembers, there was strong talk, from inside the Iranian parliament, from some Iranian leaders, talk that Iran would withdraw from this treaty. But it's clear that America added this clause to ensure, that Iran does not withdraw from this treaty, and therefore it's a commitment not to produce nuclear weapons, not to acquire nuclear weapons. In Article 10, America commits not to increase its military power in the region throughout the duration of these negotiations. This is Article 10 that I said we would talk about today. So this means it guarantees Iran that there will be no return to war after this period ends, 2 months of negotiations. Because maybe America only wants this agreement for now, as a period long enough to strengthen its military power again, so it can come back with another, even stronger military operation against Iran. So here, Iran added this clause, obligating America to keep its military assets in the region as they are today. The destroyed radars must remain destroyed, the destroyed air defense systems must remain destroyed, and the aircraft that were destroyed should not be replaced with other aircraft. Any reinforcement of these forces present in the region is rejected according to this clause. Clause 11 talks about the Iranian assets that must be released, the funds that America must release today, just as Iran wanted. That means exactly since the beginning of these negotiations or this proposal. There are $12 billion that America must release immediately upon signing the agreement, and another $12 billion that will be released during this upcoming period within the next 60 days. Article 12 also talks about establishing a mechanism to monitor the implementation of this agreement. Article 13 states that the final agreement must come with a resolution from the United Nations Security Council. This is very important. Iran wants to ensure a strong legal guarantee that protects it within the international order so that the agreement is approved by the United Nations Security Council. It knows that America or the Epstein Alliance in general cannot be trusted. It means absolutely at any moment this agreement could be revoked and there could be a return to imposing sanctions or even a return to war and so on, just like before. When one president is replaced by another. That's why they add this clause so that the agreement becomes a final agreement approved by the UN Security Council. Then we find Article 14, and the last clause confirms that entering into the final negotiations, meaning the negotiations about the Iranian nuclear program, will never happen unless these previous clauses are fulfilled. Like releasing the first $12 billion of Iranian assets, then the second $12 billion, then lifting the sanctions on Iranian oil and lifting the naval blockade. This means that the more the US rushes with these steps, the sooner the final negotiations will begin. This is what Iran wants, to have final negotiations. That's what's important. What's important to the US today, and this will also guarantee for Iran a quick American commitment, as I said, to the terms of this initial agreement. This is Article 14. We also find that it specifies exactly the issues that will be up for negotiation in the final talks, and they are defined as the future of Iranian uranium, highly enriched uranium, then the issue of uranium enrichment on Iranian soil, meaning the possible and permissible enrichment levels allowed on Iranian territory. Iran's commitment to this will be on the table in the final negotiations, then the reconstruction of the Iranian economy, and the complete lifting of sanctions. Of course, there will be no negotiations about the Iranian missile program or what is called Iran's proxies in the region. This was before the war, but today there is a new reality that Iran is imposing. So anyone, no matter their level, when they look at these terms, the 14 clauses which will be signed, as most international media outlets say, will definitely make it clear to anyone who reads it who the winner in this conflict is. Iran has remained steadfast until the very end. Trump. Maybe he did this last dance that we saw this week, but in the end he found that what he dealt out came back twice over. So there is no way except to accept the Iranian conditions and sign this agreement. Some say that the signing of this agreement will be on Sunday, next Sunday. However, the American network CBS said, quoting informed American sources, that the signing of the agreement will be at the beginning of this week, not the end of this week, meaning at the beginning of this week. So the important thing is that this is the first time things are really moving towards signing the agreement, because as I said, there are indications that might confirm this. And everything we said before is real, it's a fact, and it's being confirmed today. Because Trump is in a real predicament. Every time he takes an escalatory step to get out of this predicament, he finds himself in another one, or he sinks even deeper into this Iranian quagmire. But of course, there is only one thing left, which is to actually verify the terms of this upcoming agreement, because now I am speaking. What we talked about today is just leaks that came from Iranian media, which were picked up by many American and international media outlets and so on. But American President Trump made a statement today saying that these leaked terms have nothing to do with the actual terms that were agreed upon. And Trump is known for his statements always being contrary to reality, so we can't be certain about anything right now. We will see if these are really the terms of the agreement or if there are other terms. Will there actually be an agreement as well, or will there be other different developments? Everything will become clear in the next few hours, and we will be back, God willing. Don't forget to subscribe and hit the like button. Peace be upon you and God's mercy and blessings. See you next time.